Today we're making the ultimate comfort food, chicken cacciatore. Oh my goodness, did I say that right? Cacciatore. It's the chicken with tomatoes and wine. It's so delicious. Well, if you've ever made chicken cacciatore or something even similar, let us know in the comments. I'd like to maybe exchange some ideas with you, okay? And please stick around because you know that we're going to give out so much information. We're going to drop so much knowledge. We're going to just have a good time. And by the way, the end is coming up when we're going to be just eating this great dish. I can't think of a better Italian dish, chicken cacciatore. Well, let's go ahead and get started. I'm Chef Don McMillan, and we're in for a treat. For this wonderful creation, look at the ingredients that we're going to put. Of course, chicken. I have here some chicken thighs that I cut up, leaving the bone in. The bone is going to make the sauce even more delicious. We have some canned tomatoes. They've been chopped up. They're beautifully. Flour to make the seasoning for the chicken and to seal in all the great flavors. Some white wine. Oh my goodness, it's going to be just so good. And we have here some garlic. It has to be garlic if it's going to be Italian, right? Olive oil, capers. Capers are going to give it a nice little kick, a nice flavor. You'll love that. We have some Italian seasoning, onions, got to have onions, and of course some bell peppers. We've got that. It's going to be just delicious. So first of all, I want to season my chicken. To season the chicken, I'm going to use salt and pepper, okay? So I have here some black pepper. Put that in there. Very simple seasoning, isn't it? And then also some salt. Now we're going to put some salt in, and then later on we're going to taste and see if the sauce needs some additional salt, because some of the ingredients that we have salt in it. For example, the capers and the tomatoes. Okay, so keep that in mind. All right, now we'll toss our chicken like this. Just get those salt and peppers going in there. I want to be sure all the pieces of chicken are equally coated with seasonings. And then we're going to coat it with some flour. This is all-purpose flour. This is going to thicken our sauce as well as to seal in the wonderful juices that are in the chicken naturally. So after we dust our chicken pieces with flour, we're then going to put them into our saute pan where we have some olive oil, and we're going to brown off the chicken. Okay, so once they have the flour on them, place them right into the pan and brown them off on both sides. So you see, as I said, we're using chicken thighs. You may use other parts of the chicken as well. You can use chicken breasts. I prefer the bone in there, but you may take it out if you wish. I did leave the skin on a couple of pieces because the skin, of course, contains fat, and we all know that fat tastes good, right? It's very important. All right. We don't want to stack them up, so just kind of keep them, you know, separately apart like this. And then we can always take a couple of pieces out and put some more back in there again. As the chicken is cooking, you'll see that little parts of the protein stick to the bottom of the pan, and that's very important because that protein is actually going to be incorporated in our sauce when we add in the wine and we add in the chicken stock. Okay, now we just took the chicken out of the pan. Look how beautifully it's browned. I want you to just look inside this pan and see those little bits and pieces in there. That is what's going to make our sauce just kick it up, make it so delicious. Okay, so now we want to go ahead and we're going to saute some vegetables. I have here some onions that I have sliced. Let's put them in there. Also some red peppers. I like the red colored peppers just because it stands out. You can use any colored pepper if you wish, even maybe mix them up a little bit if you like. Okay, so let's get those peppers in there and we'll start those sauteing right there in the same wonderful juices that are there in the bottom of the pan, and they're going to really come out. When you cook your vegetables, what happens, sugar comes out of them naturally. And the sugar is going to stick to the bottom of the pan, which is going to give even more flavor to our dish. So, as I said earlier, we're going to put some garlic. We have some great garlic right in here. I'm going to go ahead and press it. We're not going to put it in right this second, but I'm going to get the garlic ready so when it's time to go in. So we'll just go ahead and press our garlic. And then with that, we're going to put that in just a little bit. Because as you know, that garlic has to go in Italian, right? All right, saute our vegetables right in there with the wonderful juices from our chicken and the olive oil. This is one of my family favorite dishes, and you know, it's just so delicious. It adds a lot. We want to start eating it before it's done, but you know, we have to be cautious. You don't want to eat the raw chicken, and we didn't cook the chicken all the way either. We just cooked it partially to get a little bit of brown in there. I'm just going to head and put a little bit of salt in there, and what happens when you salt your vegetables, the sugars just start to pour out of the vegetables, and that will make it even brown up a little bit quicker. Let me turn the heat down now. I don't want to burn it. All right, now they're starting to brown a little bit. They're starting to get soft, and at that point I'm going to add in my garlic. And I'm going to cook that for about a minute, no more, because the garlic will burn and we don't want anything burnt. We just want the flavor of it. So I have so many wonderful ingredients, but I want to scrape the bottom of this pan right here because I want that fond to just jump up and incorporate. So I'm going to deglaze it now with some white wine. And as that's happening, just scrape, 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 get all those little goodies up. Get them up, make them happy. And then as we're cooking this, the alcohol is escaping, of course, it's just evaporating right away, and then the steam is evaporating. So we just want to cook this down to about half. We'll have that wine flavor that stays in the pan, and that's the important thing why we're using wine. You can also use chicken stock too to deglaze the pan. Oh man, I wish you could just smell this, but you know, when you cook it, you'll find out. It's going to be so good. Okay, so you just see in the pan that we have just a little bit of the liquid in there. It's pretty much has evaporated. It actually flavored our food. It removed all those little bits and pieces on the bottom of the pan. You can see that as I move it around. They're now incorporated into our sauce, and now we're just going to add some more goodies. Okay, we're going to have some tomatoes. So I use the chopped tomatoes with the juice and just place them in there. And then to that, we're going to add capers. Now, I also like to use olives. So if you don't want to use the capers, go ahead and put some olives in there. It works just as well. But I like the flavor of capers. It just adds so much to it. Get that cooking. And then I'm going to add in some chicken stock. When you use chicken stock, look at the label. You want to be careful. If it has salt in there, then you want to just put a small amount of salt in your food. Just at the end, you can adjust the seasonings. I'm always cautious about that because, as I said earlier, the capers have the salt and the stock has salt, and also we added some salt with the chicken. It's looking so good before you even put the chicken in there, huh? Okay. We had a little bit of excess flour, so I'm going to take some of that seasoned flour, and I'm just going to use that to stir that into our dish, and that'll actually thicken it up as it's cooking too. Now, we have some Italian herbs, and if you'll see what I'm using now, using my fingers, so you use the heat from your hand to release the flavor from the dried herbs. It'll also make your hand smell good too. Just using it, so I'm putting a little bit of pressure, heating up the herbs and just sprinkling them on there, make them taste so good. Let's stir that into it. And so this is an Italian blend. You could use or just oregano if you wish, or marjoram, or thyme, or any of those herbs. But this is a nice blend. Okay, we'll just bring this up to a boil, then we're going to add in our chicken. Well, our wonderful concoction has now come to a simmer, which is exactly what I was looking for. Look at all those wonderful, oh, I mean, it looks so good right now. But let's go ahead and we're going to add in the chicken pieces, and we're going to let them finish cooking, because as you know, they're not cooked all the way. We only browned them. We are going to test them with a meat thermometer to read 165 before this dish is done, okay? So remember that. We want to get that straight. We don't want anybody eating chicken that's not cooked all the way. I don't like to cook chicken too much past 165, because eventually, unbelievable, even in the liquid, will dry out and it'll make your chicken tough. And we work so hard to make it nice and juicy by coating it and putting it in this wonderful mixture. We want it to just be so flavorful. So let me go ahead and turn them around, be sure they're all happy, and then I'm going to cover them and I'm going to let it simmer on low for about 30 minutes. But I am going to check it with my meat thermometer, be sure that our chicken is done and ready to go. All right, doesn't that look just delicious? Oh my goodness. So I got a little bit of juice left in this bowl. Let's get that in there. Yeah, get all that. We worked hard for that. Cover it, and then we're just going to let it simmer, turn it down to low, and we're going to be good in about a half an hour. Well, I've turned off the pot because I checked my chicken. I've got 165, 175 on my thermometer. When you put the thermometer into the chicken, you want to put it in about an inch, because that's where it reads. Don't just touch it like that, go in. So I inserted it, I've got a perfect reading. Now I've got to do one more thing to check, and that is to check the taste, of course. You never want to trust the chef doesn't taste their own cooking, right? So I'm just going to go ahead and get a little bit of that sauce, see if it's got enough seasoning in there. Oh, I just gotta put a little bit more, pepper, tiny bit more salt, and I think this is going to be it. Let's give it a good stir. Oh man, I just smell the aroma just coming from this chicken. It looks so great. It'll be wonderful served over a pasta, okay? Maybe a little a boro rice would be so nice with it, or a little risotto. Oh my goodness, so much good things going. So here it is. This is our wonderful recipe. It looks delicious, smells delicious, guarantee it's going to taste delicious, okay? It's our great chicken, has tomato sauce in there with fresh tomatoes, fresh peppers, fresh onions. What's not to like? So please subscribe to our channel. Also, let us know in the comments if you have any questions, and don't forget the recipe is directly below, so you have that as well to refer to. And definitely you have to like us, because we want to do so many more of these videos. So remember, with Chef Don, you have your recipes that are always simple and delicious.